Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to today's webinar from our Build Your Career webinar series, How to Lead Fun and Fast Meetings by Elsa Velasco-Paul, co-founder of the M&E Group. My name is Carrie Cosby, and I'm filling in for Scott Levine today, and I'm the chapters manager at the IEEE Computer Society. I oversee our more than 700 professional and student chapters around the world, and manage our Distinguished Visitors Program. Before we get started, I'd like to address some housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive an email tomorrow, which will include a copy of the slides and the recording. You can ask any Q&A questions in the Q&A panel. If you have any questions that refer to a particular slide, please do your best to reference that slide. Elsa will answer as many questions as she can. I believe she's planning on doing that within and after the presentation. Join the IEEE Computer Society to learn more about how to improve your presentation skills and build your career. We provide various opportunities to connect with professionals from around the world, such as our technical communities and our student and professional chapters. We provide resources such as our jobs board, which features numerous open positions in the U.S. that can help you get closer to your success. Additionally, you can access up-to-date career advice from computing experts by visiting our Tech News blog. More information will be shared after the webinar, and you can always learn more at computer.org. Circling back to today's topic, meetings aren't at the top of everyone's list of things they want to do, but making meetings fun can improve the team morale and improve productivity. Purposeful, well-planned meetings are essential to team cohesion and the best place to share information, talk about performance, and solve problems. In this session, you'll learn how to design and lead fun, fast, and empowering meetings people will want to go to. As mentioned, joining us today is Elsa Velasco-Paul, who's the co-founder and creator of the M&E Group, a marketing and consulting firm based in Tulsa, Oklahoma since 1997. Elsa serves as the International Customer Experience Manager for the Crosby Group. Elsa also does corporate training, providing her expertise covering numerous topics, such as the one you'll see today, as well as communication skills, solutions thinking, personal branding, and career mistakes to avoid. That's just to name a few. Elsa, thank you for being here today, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, everybody. Well, let's dive right in. I want you guys to go on a trip with me. Think about the last time that you were at a workplace meeting. Was it productive? Was it entertaining? Was it fun? Well, chances are that it wasn't, right? And all across the world right now, there's a ton of unnecessary meetings that are being held, and they become unnecessary precisely because we're not doing it right. And when I mean doing it right is we're doing it in a manner that isn't conducive to being creative, to making it engaging, and to empowering people so that they are the ones that are really making the meeting come alive. And when that happens, the meeting, by the fact, becomes a fun meeting. Today, when we add up all of those losses, the energy, the people, even the creativity lost, it's a ton of money. And I'm talking about approximately more than $400 billion with a B that is being lost across the world in a year. 400 billion is, well, it's enough to buy, I don't know, probably all the NFL teams that we have here in the US, enough to buy rocket ships, enough to buy, you name it. That's a ton of money that we are wasting. But at the end of this session, you're going to have a ton of tools and tactics and apps that are going to make sure that you are not adding up to that billions of dollars that are being wasted in meetings like these. We all have a ton of meetings and a ton of decisions that we need to make. And they are very, very tricky. And to find that sweet spot of the effectiveness and how to do that, that is really, really difficult. But today, we're going to share a ton of good tips and tricks on how to make that happen. Like Carrie said, welcome, everybody. I am Elsa Velasco-Paul, and I am the co-founder and the chief solutionist here at the M&E group. I am thrilled to be here with you guys, and I am so excited because this is one of my favorite topics, making meetings fun. And when we make them fun, they become effective, fast, and engaging. And the whole culture in your company is going to change. I guarantee it. And we are here thanks to a fantastic relationship and partnership that is going on for 3 years. And it is with the great team of the IEEE team. Thank you so much, Carrie. Carrie, I love working with you. The same thing with Eric, with Scott, Michelle. All of you, you guys are so much fun to work with. And if any of you folks are wondering, should I really renew my membership? This is one of the other membership benefits that you get just because you are part of the IEEE Computer Society. So yes, renew. I am a huge fan of associations, so just do that, especially with the IEEE Computer Society. And in the background is the other partner in crime, and that is Mike. Mike is going to be taking some of your questions, but because this is a topic that has so many things going on, we're going to be taking your questions live. That means as you type them in, Mike is going to be interacting with us, reading them for you so that I can answer them on the go, because this is a fast meeting and we want to make sure that we take care of you right then and there. Let's keep those juices flowing. So without ado, let's keep in the flow of what we do. And you know where we're heading, right? Yeah, we are going to take care of this part. Yeah, we have to do that, don't we? You know this part. I'm an attorney by training, so I have to do this one. And this is the part where I tell you, hey guys, if you do need to use any of the material contained in this section, in this meeting, please make sure that you connect with us first, because we want to make sure that we do this the right way. We partner with tons of you every single day, and we love doing that. So just connect with us first, because we might even have different ways of adding to the material that you need to, or even partnering with you. We love doing that. Let's just connect first before we go on there. Before we do that and before we move forward, I always want to make sure that I tailor all of my sessions to my audience so that I add value to you. Carrie, would this be a good spot to do our poll and find out who we have in the room today?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. So what you're going to see on screen right now is a poll that shows what stage are you in your career. So if you identify yourself mainly as a student, as a graduate student, as an entry-level supervisor, manager, retired, my people from academia, hello, just make sure you click that so that we know exactly where you are. And in some of my other webinars, we've had something really funny. As you know, now that you can see me, I drink a ton of things because I want to make sure that I keep hydrated. And I get a lot of questions, what am I drinking? I'll tell you what am I drinking if you tell me what you are drinking. So if you don't mind in the chat, if you are having coffee, I want to know what kind of coffee, tea, so any special waters, any teas, just share in the chat. And Mike, if you can share with us while our friends are letting us know where they are in their career, that would be awesome. And yes, I had a question. Right now, I am dipping into a double espresso with a hint of cortado in it. And you're going to see my apple cider vinegar kick in probably in 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm that kind of a person. Carrie, do we have some results kicking in right now?
Hey, Elsa, before you get the results,
yes.
Trent is drinking filtered water, he says.
I love that. Well, kudos to you. I love my purist. Awesome. Okay, cheers, Trent. Welcome to the session. Awesome. Hey, Mike, what are you having? I didn't ask you.
I have a lemon LaCroix soda water.
Ooh, awesome. Ooh. Purist over here. All right, awesome. Okay, keep them coming. I love hearing what my audiences from across the world are drinking. And I get a lot of great suggestions on tea. I also do tea a lot. So let me know, what is a good idea for teas? I always want to partner and find out what you guys say. This is fantastic. I love it because this is showing me that I have a great mix. You know what makes me so excited? right here, this wonderful mix of having team lead supervisors and managers be that big chunk in the middle, because that is exactly where we can make a difference into making these team meetings something spectacular. I know those two things don't match. Yes, meetings can be spectacular. And today we are going to learn how to make that actually happen. All right, folks.
Hey, Elsa.
Yes.
Felix, just so you know, is drinking green tea, and Dana is drinking orange juice.
Oh, I love orange juice too, Dana. I do, but if I do orange juice with my apple cider vinegar, yeah, I think my stomach will vacate the premises and leave me right now. So good job for you, Dana, especially right now. You know, orange juice is going to keep a lot of people very, very healthy. Good for you. Thanks for the tip on the tea. Thank you. All right, so why are we talking about this today? Why are we talking about meetings, and why does this matter? Well, let's do this. Let's put our running shoes and let's talk about it. We talked about this multi-billion, $400 billion cost of meetings, and it's ridiculous. This is unplanned meetings. It's the one that somebody shoots up an email to you and says, hey, let's meet today at 4 p.m. to discuss so and so and so. That single liner does not constitute a meeting. That is a hostage request. That's what happened, because they are keeping your time hostage. They're not telling you why you're meeting. They're not telling you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And most importantly, they're not telling you what you should bring to be prepared, or what others should be doing to be prepared. That, in my definition, that's a kidnapping, because they're kidnapping the most precious resource that you have, which is your time. And we do it not because we're evil, wah, ha, ha, ha. No, we do it because that's what's common. That's what we know. So let's not do that. And how do we ingrain that with the word fun? Well, let's talk about this a little bit. When we think about fun, we think of it as in a playful manner, right? We think about kids running in the playground or things like that. But fun is a little bit bigger, right? Fun has a playful component into it. A lot of research has gone into it, right? We've been discovering, we've been talking about this all the way from 1960s when they started to talk that the amount of time that meetings have been seeping out of productivity has gone up from 10 hours, yes, 10 hours, within a day, because, think about it, from back then when meetings were 3 hours to now, it's gone up to 10 hours combined, because we're working longer hours, because we're multitasking. Yes, several of you, I totally know that you're watching this and you're on your phone answering to emails while you're watching this. So those things count. So we're double tasking at the same time. And even more importantly, which is something that it just happens, we're working during the weekends, we're working at nights. That amount of time has incremented, but the product or the output hasn't, which tells us that the way we're doing meetings isn't working. What's even more important is there's a lot of burnout. There's not an increase in creativity, and that pizzazz that people should have is just not there. That comes back to the concept of fun. Fun is a little bit deeper than just playing in a playground, than just humor, than just laughing at a joke. Play has an intrinsic component of feeling at ease, feeling energized, and feeling recognized. I know that is so important. If you think about it, the whole point of feeling fun is that you feel comfortable enough that you are vulnerable, but you feel part of a group. And one of the things that I believe we miss a lot in meetings is that we perceive meetings as a one-time conversation, as a one-way conversation, or as a rank and file conversation. Somebody dictates what is going to happen and everybody else just takes notes. That is total buzzkill. And that's why meetings are not engaging. And that's why some people, frankly, they attend because they have to, or that's why a lot of people are ghosting your meetings, because they are not fun. Fun is bigger than what it is. Fun means creative. Fun means engaging. Fun means recognize and being part of a system. So what happens when we are within a fun environment? Not only meetings, but anything. Well, fun in itself builds camaraderie, a sense of us, a sense of belonging. And when we are us, we own the project. So there's going to be much more output, and the output is going to be richer and deeper than what would be if it was led by somebody. The second thing that is going to happen is the level of productivity, good productivity, is going to increase exponentially, because instead of one person pushing for results, it's everybody owning the project and pushing for good results. Everybody is rowing in the same direction. And of course, it's going to enhance everybody's sense of satisfaction, loyalty, belonging, and wanting to be a little bit more than what they are. One of my favorite parts of having fun included in meetings and an ambiance and part of a team is that it is absolutely going to multiply creativity and innovation wherever it is, not only in our meetings. So, when we talk about meetings, how do we make that happen? Pretty simple. I'm going to show you exactly how. The first thing that we need to do for meetings is we need to clarify what we need. Remember at the beginning when we were talking about how does this work? You send me an email saying we need to meet at 4 p.m. to discuss about this. At that point, in that email that you send me, I'm completely lost. I don't say it because I'm used to it, which is kind of sad, but I have no clue what your expectations are of why I'm supposed to be going to this meeting. Even worse, I have no expectations of what to think you are going to deliver to me. I don't even know what the end goal of the meeting is. And that is a really, really bad way to start a meeting. So the reason why we want to have fun involved in meetings is because when we work as a team, when fun is ingrained in it, everybody becomes accountable to everybody. Accountability is a real, live, organic way of functioning. So whenever I send out a meeting invite like that, somebody, Carrie or Mike, are going to call me out and say, why are we meeting? What are we supposed to be doing? Instead of us keeping silent because it's Dr. So-and-so and so that is telling us to do that, or Elsa, the chief solutionist, saying that we have to attend this meeting. The rank and file, the lines on the shoulders, they're going to disappear because we have enough respect to call us out when we are not having a behavior that is conducive to creativity, to fun, and to higher productivity levels. So what are those key things that we need to have a fun environment? Well, number one, we need to be vulnerable and honest wherever we go and make sure that that seeps in, that everybody understands this. And when we do that, well, beautiful things happen, because the first thing that we do is to have an environment like this, we need to, number one, feel at ease. We need to feel comfortable. We need to feel that there is a room for us to learn, fail, and relearn the opportunities. And within this relearning, teach others how to do it or how not to do it. Another key component of this is there is a part of us that tells us what the rules of the game are. We call this, why are we meeting? Or whenever we meet, this is the expectations. So whenever we meet, we expect to have a result at the end of the meeting and have all the action items detailed at the end, or we will be typing action items while we talk. Those are the tribal knowledge, the undescript rules that we all follow. Hang on. It is not at all this is how we've always done it. Please, please, please become the slasher of that. Do not allow that in any of your meetings. And if you hear it in any of its many versions, make sure you are the first one to raise your hand or to immediately point it out and say, that is not allowed, because that will kill creativity and make sure that people feel so muted that they will not speak again. And of course, once we're in this type of environments where we have fun, then something wonderful is going to happen. And that is that we're going to be able to know the expected outcome of the meeting, and we're going to know what is expected from us. If I know what's expected from us, from me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be prepared. In that time of endless discussion, of doing the homework while on the meeting, done. Because people come prepared to the meeting, and they leave the meeting in half of the time that we used to do that before. Isn't that wonderful? All of that because now we are firm believers and we understand what fun can do for us. So let's talk about all these wonderful words of fun in where can we insert this, or what kind of meetings fun would operate in. Well, we're going to talk about 6 today. There's many, many different ones, but the key ones that we're going to talk about are 6. The first one is going to be the huddle. And the huddle is the classic one that many of you do. Then it's going to be followed by the decision making. You can guess what happens in that one. Then we have one of my favorites, which is the information sharing. Talk about when you have a big board meeting, something like that. It's followed by the discussion. The discussion is when we just want to throw a lot of ideas and find out what is going to happen. Discussion meetings are frequently followed by the decision meetings. And then one of the culprits here, the black sheep, is going to be the impromptu meetings. How do I feel about it? You're going to find out in a little bit. And the last one is the check-in. And I put the check-in on purpose at the end of the huddle because a lot of people confuse one with the other. They are not. And that is why the check-in often gets asked, unnecessarily so. You're going to find out why I believe it is so, so, so important. All right. Are we ready to dig right into and start talking about each one of these? The way we're going to do this is we're going to talk about each one of these meetings, and then right after we talk about the huddle, we're going to talk about how can we make it fun. If you have any ideas of what to add as we talk about ways to making each one of these meetings fun, just type it in there so that Mike can read it out loud and all of us can learn on different ways and functions to make this much more fun. Let's talk about the huddle. So as you can see, the huddle is going to be a meeting that most of you probably do already because it is the typical 7 in the morning information systems people do it, project managers, we do it a lot. And this one is tactical, short, sweet. It is frequent because it's going to happen with the same people, updating status on a common project. Everyone has to speak. And everybody usually is assigned a certain segment of the meeting. We want to update on the same thing. We just want to know if there's any hiccups, how we can resolve them. We are not there to do homework. We are there to update. One of the things we have to be careful there is to not go into rabbit holes, which is why a strong leader, a strong facilitator is so, so key. And here, the sizes that you can go with a huddle, it can go up to, from 3 to 15. Notice 3, not 2, 3 to 15. And I like to keep it small just because I have the concept of a pizza. Can you share a pizza within these folks? When you take it to bigger numbers, then it becomes a little bit unruly, and the whole purpose of everybody being able to update and own part of the meeting goes out the window. If you find yourself having to invite a little bit more people than you need, or somebody saying, I'm going to assign this person to go in there, but I also want to attend, we have a little bit of different issues. We have a workshop about that, about meetings, and it is fantastic. So if you want more information, just ping us and we'd be more than happy to talk about it. So let's talk about how can we fun the huddle up. Well, super, super simple, because the huddle happens so frequently that because it happens, all you have to do is just make small changes. Most of the time, the huddle is going to happen in the same room, right? You have a war room, you have somebody's office, you have a conference room. And just by the fact that you do it in the same place, people immediately see it as a chore, as something not exciting, not engaging. So the first thing that you can just do is, boom, change the location, but not willy-nilly. Remember, people need to know the reasons why. So whenever you have important milestones or important goals, or you want to celebrate somebody or somebody's, joining the meeting for the first time or something, change the venue. You don't have to extend the length, just change the venue. And when you do that, make sure you are very clear on the meeting invite for that specific session. And you just send out a clear reminder, hey, we're going to have this meeting at so-and-so and so because we are celebrating this, or because we have somebody new. Because tell people, it doesn't quash out the excitement. It just clarifies people why you are changing the venue. you would be surprised how many people would get hung up onto why are you changing the location. But it makes a heck of a difference, even having it outside if you can, when the weather permits and allergies are not killing you. Having it in a different room, having it standing up, having it sitting down, small tweaks makes a difference. Allow for voting. And when I say voting is, I love Teams, for example, and Teams has a plethora of options that you can vote up or down. You can have reactions, you can have GIFs. That makes a difference if you have a lot of remote teams like we do. Here at the M&E Group, we have people all over the world. And sometimes even when somebody's explaining their segment, just having the applause come through, it's awesome. And it is part of fun. Fun doesn't have to be that huge laughter. Fun happens continuously, and it's by engagement too. And always, another thing is you want to make sure that you delegate sections of the meeting to different people. If you find yourself talking too much, it's a good time for you to rationalize your meeting better, because when you delegate different sections, you allow leadership to happen. And number two, that's engagement. And for folks like myself, kinesthetic learners, any opportunity for us to speak up, to do something is an important part of the meeting. We get excited, we become part of it. And you know what? Next time for that meeting, I'm going to be prepared, and I will always go to your meeting. It's really, really works. Very, very important. Just make sure that whenever it's key, use meaningful recognition. Great milestone. Even something small like bringing some cupcakes is good. Even having some small decorations from the dollar store makes a difference. Things like these are small. If you're online, you can still do it. You can still have a quick snippet of a video, or even have a gift that says, sprinkles for everyone. You get my gist, right? It's all about doing things, sprucing it up in short spurts with a reason. So that's the huddle. Let's talk about the second one, the decision making. We talked about this one, and the decision making is the one that it's very specific, and because it's decision making, people tend to focus on one person decides for everybody. First buzzkill, let's not do that. We understand that meetings essentially should have a goal. Get people together, essentially to, after a discussion, make a decision. Sure. But every team member should feel empowered enough to either have discussed their opinion and share it meaningfully before, after, during, or at least if they don't agree with it, make sure that their opinion was heard. One of the things that happens with decision-making meetings is that they can get very, very lengthy because people think that you have to come to an agreement. That is not so. And that is why I love to make decision-making meetings as small as it needs to be. Again, think of the pizza. When you have too many people in a room, it can get rabbit trail, way unruly, and it ends up going into different ways. And you, as the facilitator, you spend your whole time exhausted trying to herd people into it. A good way to address that is split it. Have multiple decision-making meetings. So what can we do to spruce up, to make this type of meeting a little bit more exciting? Oh, there's a ton of different ways that you can do that. The first one is you definitely want to think about systematizing as much as you can. Because you have decisions, you want people to focus on the conversation at hand. You don't want them to be busy about the system or about how they type, where they type. If there's action items that needs to be taken, then take the advantage of using apps out there that do that for you. Hear this one out. Yo-Yo Meetings is one of my favorites. And I love Yo-Yo Meetings because I am talking. Yo-Yo Meeting is typing for me. And I love it because it types in action items. It types in who was talking, who needs to be, even the heads of the people that are talking at that time, so that afterwards I can read my notes and see, yes, this is what was agreed upon. For some of us that English is not our first language, or that listening or hearing is sometimes challenging, think about using closed caption. Teams has that, and I love it. Transcript services also is another option. You would be amazed that for some folks that are visual or auditory, those things make a difference, especially if you have teams that are remote or their language is not the first one. Anything that you can do to eliminate all those hurdles, use them. The closed caption, that was a lifesaver for me. You would be amazed of how much it makes a difference. Another tool, and we're going to have a whole slide devoted to it, is whiteboards. How many of you have used whiteboards before? And if you don't mind, type in the chat so that Mike can let me know. I love whiteboards. I like whiteboards because I'm visual. I'm many learners, but I'm visual, one of the primaries. And sometimes when somebody's explaining something that is very abstract, but also very foreign to what I do, it's tough for me to understand. In what I do, I zone out. I start multitasking. I start doing anything but what you want me to do. So a good way to engage me back is to use a whiteboard. It can be online or it can be in person, because a whiteboard puts this process or whatever you want me to see in a format that I can understand if I'm a concrete thinker. It also allows for people to have different scenarios play out, and it engages people in a manner that most of the time only words would not be able to deliver that.
Hey,
Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, just John from Godfrey Marine says yes to the whiteboard. Chris at Daimler Truck says all the time.
Oh, yes. You guys are you're my brothers and sisters from another mother. You guys know what it is. It makes a difference, and it's so easy to use. And once people get a hang of it, there's tons out there, by the way. People will not have a meeting without a whiteboard. I promise you. It is so spectacular. And we do have a slide just to talk about whiteboards. So I can ease you into the world of whiteboards. So thank you guys. Thank you for participating. Send the material beforehand. Remember when we said, I don't know why you're asking me to join this meeting? Well, send me exactly what you want to talk about so that I can read and then I can participate and not just do the reading while you're talking. That way I can have input and just not expect to sit there as part of the furniture. And then make sure that because this is a decision-making meeting, you want to do your homework and think who should be in this meeting that needs to make the decision. The worst thing that can happen in a decision-making meeting is that we get to a stopping point because somebody says, I need to involve so-and-so because I can't make that decision. Total buzzkill. So think about it. Yes.
Another question. Fahim is asking, what is the advantage of scheduling decision meetings in the AM?
Oh, great question. Oh my goodness, you guys are a fast reader. Yes, because research has shown over and over and over, and I looked to see if I could debunk it, but it still holds. Most people, or a higher percentage of people, are more productive and more alert in the mornings versus in the afternoon. It is a thing that after lunch, unfortunately, because of our eating habits and because of how exhausted we are after a busy meeting, we are drained. And if you want people to be the best, the prime time of their thinking, take up the meeting, take up the morning time. And just be mindful that you want to make sure you use their time wisely. Just to schedule a decision-making meeting because you want to and not having sent up the information beforehand and not telling them why they are there, that's the first and the last time they're going to attend your meeting. Because they're going to say, I have more important things to do. Great question. Great segue, by the way. Awesome segue. With that one, I don't know if you guys are having as much fun as I had when I was putting together these slides. I was, because as you can see, I love fun, and I don't know, it was a riot for me to putting these together. The discussion. So the discussion is a completely different thing, because the discussion is more about when we don't have something specific to discuss, and often the discussion comes before the decision making, right? So think about it in terms of, I have a big conversation coming up, so I want to get a lot of people's opinion about it before I even launch it, I will engage into a discussion meeting. It's a little bit more free-flowing, definitely, than the huddle and the decision-making. And it's a dialogue of sorts. You still need to have a facilitator because you need somebody writing or drawing the swimming lanes for everybody. And again, I can't stress this enough. You want to wrangle in the size of this meeting. Too big, it becomes unruly. It becomes a talking of whatever comes to mind, and you're just going to be exhausted trying to bring people back into what the topic is. If you make it too small, then you find out that you developed cliques, and you don't want to do that. Can you guys hang up for a second? Hey, Mike?
I'm here.
Yes. Could you do me a second, and could you let... Sorry, guys, this is happening in COVID times. Could you let Mother know that the dog is outside?
Will do.
Thank you. Only on COVID times. All right. So I like the term pizza because it's the size of a pizza. And come on, before you start saying like, oh, I can eat a whole pizza by myself. I know you can, bud, but you get my point, right? This is more about it's a smaller size. It's all about being able to handle sizes of a meeting to make it productive. So how do we have fun with these types of discussion meetings? Well, pretty simple. Number one, very, very important, remove any sense of ranks. And when I say that, this is one of the key buzzkills is when you go in somewhere and you can just feel it, that people are afraid to talk to so-and-so because their opinion is going to quash everybody else's. If you find yourself in that position and it's somebody that's higher up, split the meeting. Split it and just talk to that person by itself. Feed that person enough information so that they feel very comfortable. Remember, information comes from two places, love or fear. So maybe that's why that person is so controlling. And allow for those folks that you know are naturally more timid to have a separate meeting, right? We want to use a lot of visuals. And when we talk about visuals, hear me out, we're talking about words, right? So the project that we're envisioning, we want it to be something developed on the west side of the story, west side of the state. It's going to be where there's more greenery, paint the picture. But also, we want to use graphics. So don't be afraid, even if it's just a simple meeting, to bring pictures, to bring images, even if it's very rudimentary, or to draw it. Anything that helps to put people in your mind is going to make your meeting much more efficient. And use tactile elements. Again, think about your different types of learners, right? So you have some people that are going to be fantastic if you just explain it. But all the rest of the learners, they are gone. Because you started speaking, they zoned out. How do you prevent that? Super simple. Just buy yourself, and you're going to be amazed. Buy yourself a simple box of Legos, Lincoln blocks, something, colors, markers, stickies, whatever, and put them in the middle of the table. Don't say anything. Just say, hey, if anybody, I know that for some people, I like to do it when I'm thinking best is if I'm busy. Just doing something with my hands. So if you feel compelled to, go ahead and do it. I promise you, within 2 minutes, you're going to see somebody reach out and start to do it. Don't think they're not paying attention to you. What they are doing is they're actually thinking. For some of us, we think better when we're doing something. How many of you have those brilliant ideas when you're taking a shower, when you are walking? Same principle here. Something that is very simple allows you to release your mind to get those creative juices going. You don't have to invest a lot of money. You just have to put something out there so that they can engage their hand and get busy enough on this side of their brain. Be aware that there will be some judgmental ambiances, some places where people have microaggressions, where something as simple as somebody starts talking and I do, this is red. this is red. So just read the room. And when you see something like that, especially with those folks that you know are very shy, make sure you don't chastise the person that did that, because chances are they didn't know they were doing that. But make sure that you said, great idea, so-and-so, and so I like that. Reinforce the positive behavior, okay? And then, of course, support always environments that are relaxing, that are exciting, and that make sure that people want to come back, because this is a learning place. Even if the idea doesn't pan out, it doesn't matter. We learned that that didn't work, and that's exactly where we want to go. All right, so we are at a great place to do a little check of how much we've learned. I want to do a quick studio with you. And there's a couple of different answers, so I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to put out there a question, and this is the studio, and then you tell me what you think is the best answer. Carrie, is this a good time to put it out there?
Yeah, let's push it. Here we go.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we have, in this one, we have Jim, and he's from Accounts Payable. He's super confused about a payment request that my department made. So he says, can we meet this afternoon to talk about it? In your mind, and from what we've talked about, what type of meeting do you think this one should be? Remember, should, not what type of meeting is it going to be. What type of meeting should this one be? Should this be a decision one, a discussion one, or a huddle? What do you guys think? And all you have to do is just click and then just put submit, and let's find out. What do you guys think? And Carrie, you can let me know when we're ready, when we have some good results out there.
Yeah, we'll give everybody a few more seconds. Everybody's a little behind us, so.
And here you go, guys. As promised, apple cider vinegar. Nobody is a firm believer in apple cider vinegar. I'm crushed. I'm super crushed.
I love apple cider vinegar, just putting in my thoughts.
Awesome. Yes, great job, guys. Great job. Yes, what we do know is that it could be part of a huddle, yes, if Jim is part of the team. Like every day, he says, I'm not going to waste your time, so can we meet today during the huddle and talk about it? It could be, sure. It could be a decision if we had already discussed it, right? But it seems that right now we are going to start having the initial conversation. So if this is the initial conversation, absolutely, I would say this is a discussion. We want to say, what happened here? Why do you want this payment? And if I do my homework right, I would probably not even have a meeting. Yes, remember, if it can be resolved via a good chunky email with all the good details, bullet pointed, and add any necessary attachments, we are golden, and we have saved part of those $400 billion, and we had made a friend out of Jim because we saved Jim some time. Excellent work, guys. Excellent work. All right, so let's talk about the information sharing. Again, I love my own things. This is hilarious because that's what people think about the information sharing. The information sharing is a little bit different. When we talked about the discussion meetings, we have primarily two different ones, right? We're going to have what we call the the debate, when we're going to go back and forth on what are we talking about, who is going to be making what decisions. And then we have the absolute ideation, right? This is the what do we do? Everybody is a free flow. The information is completely opposite. But hang on. This one, whereas everybody talks in all the previous ones, the information is usually a one-way communication. There's a central speaker or speakers panel, for example. Main goal is to create awareness, to deliver a message. Here it can be as wide from 2 to 2,000 plus participants. And we say 2 because information sharing can be also when you tell somebody in confidence a message like, hey, I just want you to know that we are engaging into a merger with so-and-so and so. You're the first one to know because you will be part of a team that will be leading so-and-so and so. Please do not share this information until you're told so. That's it. That is the information sharing. The message went one way. However, here is something very, very important. A good information sharing meeting really doesn't feel like it. A good information sharing meeting tends up to feel like a blown up discussion meeting with somebody having a firm hand on the flow of the meeting. Let's talk about this a little bit more. So the key thing, because you're already holding these folks hostage, and I say this in the best way possible, you really are. You're not giving people an option, right? So think about as shareholders meeting, a board meeting, the president of a company talking to everybody. It's not like you really can say, I'm not going, right? So people have to go, PTA, you name it. So you already have them there. And maybe a lot of them don't want to be there. So be kind, be gentle, and be generous with what you do and how you do it. That's what I call, how do you make sure that their information is shared appropriately? So first of all, start with sharing what's in it for them and kick it off with that. Why are they there and why does it matter to them? You can start with a story. You can start with why it's relevant to them, why you thought about them when you started this meeting. You name it, right? Then make it colorful, exciting, insert all these things that we talked about before. And if you have an online meeting, like lots of us do, don't be afraid to use even QR codes, links, and also include phones. A lot of us forget that some of us folks, like especially if you have outside sales folks, a lot of them are going to be watching these things on their phone while they are, for example, unable to open their laptops. The screen is going to be super, super small. So allow for options where they can interact on their phone, voting polls, again, reactions, whatever it is, so that they can be part of the meeting and not feel completely ostracized or outside of it, right? And then the check-in, we talked about it. The check-in and the huddle are going to be at odds, separate ways, because the check-in is the one-on-one, right? If you remember, it's the one where you have a time with your supervisor or with a friend. It's known details. We know what we're talking about. We know what the pitfalls are. But this is sensitive information, and it has a very, very personal approach. Whereas the huddle is a group of people talking about the same things over and over. The check-in is two people, and it's being led by the attendee. The facilitator or the supervisor in this case is there as support, but the attendee is the one that is guiding it or providing most of the information. Ideally, the attendee should share what they want to talk about it beforehand, as in a mode of an email saying like, hey, today I want to talk about this, because it allows you to be prepared to, facilitate and to give some answers. But it can also be maybe a venting session, you name it. You can imagine from 2019 up to now, this type of meeting has exploded. Mental health is a real thing, and this is exactly where people use this as a perfect venue to make sure that they're in a good place. And supervisors, that's a big part of our job, to make sure that our people are in a good place. How can we help to make this even better? Well, make sure that all those weird unknowns, where are we meeting? Why are we meeting? How much time we have, make sure that that is very, very clear. And formalize then that structure and facilitate the communication. One of the key things is because it's just the two of us, we tend to fall into the habit of, oh, we can reschedule later. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because the first time that you, as the leader of the meeting, do it, your employee won't say anything, but it's very, very disrespectful. And it's crushing, frankly. This is a very personal thing, and you just said that it's not important. Don't do it. How do you stop that? Schedule it ahead of time for that time so that you avoid the sin of trying to get out of that meeting. You can't, because that is allotted in your schedule every week, every 2 weeks, whatever schedule you want it to be. Keep the meeting the same so that on the other side, it's there as well, same time, same place, whatever you want it to be. And make sure that you ask for updates or anything like that that you need before the meeting. Again, remember, we want to have all these kinds of informations beforehand so that during the meeting, we can enjoy us and not have to worry about anything else that is not relevant to the meeting. So the last one that we talked is the impromptu. When we have too many of these impromptu meetings, that is a sign that a couple of things are happening. This is the urgency. There's usually some crisis going on. There's going to be a decision that needs to be made, or there's a discussion. Ideally, it should be less than 8 people. But I want to focus on something really, really important. When we have too many impromptus, is that we have a system or a people issue. A system that is broken or inefficient or hasn't grown with us, or a people problem. People that are uncompliant, people that are unwilling, or people that are untrained, or you don't have enough people. So check it out. If you find yourself having too many of these impromptu meetings, yeah, something needs to change immediately. So how can you do that? Reduce chaos immediately. And make sure that you keep as smooth as you can and keep everybody at the same level playing field. If you saw The Martian, the movie, you remember that iconic part where Rich Parnell was talking and everybody was in the room, Teddy and Annie and Victor Kapoor, and they were talking, and he said, "Who are you?" And Teddy replied, "I am Teddy, the director of NASA." How awesome was it that the ambience that Vincent Kapoor had created was so relaxed, and he felt so empowered by Vincent that he didn't even realize he was talking to the director of NASA. That's what I'm talking about. A+ to Vincent Kapoor for making sure that the rank sensation in that was not in the picture. So I promised you some tools and apps, right? Okay, so this is it. You guys know about most of these, like, Doodle, Instagram, Teams. We've talked about them plenty. Some of these other ones, they are a lot of voting polls, right? So I wanted to spend a little bit more time on the last 2 that I have right there, the whiteboards. And I want to show you real quick. I know it's kind of small, but I want you guys to see that. The first one that you see, that is Teams. And as you see, Teams is a little bit more structured. I like because it has the different color options. You have the possibility of just adding the stickies. You can keep it. You can keep the whole file within your Teams, so you don't have to go looking for it. But if you don't have Microsoft, you don't have the suite, you can add something called Mural. And Mural is super cool because even if you have Teams, you can just add it. But if you have anything else, Jira, whatever, boom, you can get it. You can get a free version of it. And I love it because you can see the little faces of who is adding to what. Super, super dynamic. Even I think that the paid version is like $15 or something. Both of them very easy. The learning curve is minimal. I strongly suggest you use it. Especially if you have remote teams, this is a lifesaver. And the best thing that for some of us, this is how we will remember what was being said. So let's do the last poll, the last question that we have for today. In this case, what types of apps and tools would you use? I want to know, I want to learn from you now. So in this case, we're learning a new product line that is going to impact our domestic and international markets. We'll have all of us in the meeting, and we're starting to set up a call for next week to talk about this. Because this is an exploratory meeting, I want to make sure that everybody is creative to the hilt. What would you suggest, or what kind of tools and apps do you use, or tactics are you using right now to make your meetings fun and exciting? Or what of these tools that we talked about today would you use? If you don't mind, let's type it in there, and then let's either Mike or Carrie can read them for us. And once you're done, just click on submit, and let's see what we can learn from each other. Carrie, and I believe you would be able to tell us when we have some answers. Carrie or Mike, I can't see pretty much from here.
Yeah, we'll give them a little bit of time. I'm sure we'll get some in a few
Awesome.
seconds. And until then, I just want to let you know that somebody joined us in their love of apple cider vinegar.
Yes!
Now, I have to admit, I don't cut my apple cider vinegar. I don't like it when it's in water.
What?
No, it's got to be straight. It's got to be straight from the bottle.
Hey, if I had a hat, I would take it off right now, but I don't. It would mess up my view. Good. Wow. Whoa. Okay. Yikes. Okay. So,
All right, let's see if somebody's given us some answers. I'm not sure how we're going to get this. We thought it was going to go into the Q&A panel, but I don't see that.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't. Well, we learned something. We're testing a lot of functionalities today with ON24. We'll get it better next time. So some of our key takeaways that I went ahead and did some for you guys is pretty much this is all about experimenting, isn't it? There are some rules of the game, like we talked about, but you alone know your team. You know what works, and you know intuitively what doesn't. You do know that some of these are uncomfortable and you don't want to do the extra work, but you alone will know what is that sweet spot. I'm empowering today you and your team to go out there and make that change. And I see that this is going to be a snowball of different teams wanting to do it your way. Just because once they attend your meeting, they can't help but want to know how do you do it because they want to be part of the fun. We really don't need to invest a ton of money, like the 400 billion or millions or even thousands to make meetings fun. This is all about people like you and me. And just like when Vincent did his whole thing that he empowered, Rich Parnell, my second favorite scene of this movie was when they had a huge win and he looked back and, Rich was a very, very shy guy, and everybody's celebrating what this man had just done. This was absolute genius. And Vincent just nodded like in recognition, like you did it. And that's all that Rich needed. That moment, that was so fulfilling. You can see it in his face. And he just nodded back. He stayed in the back. And that's exactly what I want you guys to experience. If you thought that Rich had fun, he felt empowered, how do you think that Vincent felt right then and there? That's exactly what I want you guys to take away today. I want you guys to become that person in your companies, in the places where you are, even in the places where you have fun a lot. Don't lead fun, stay outside. Bring it into your offices, bring it into your life, because you deserve to have a life that is completely filled with fun and make your meetings some fast, effective, and super, super fun meetings. Thank you, everybody. You have been a blast, and I always love spending time with you. Thanks again.
Elsa, we have a comment. John says, form an MS team, use files to post and share resources,
Yes.
the posts to spawn conversations, and a linked OneNote for recorded conversation and notes,
Yes.
and also embed whiteboards from meetings.
Yes. Gold star. Absolutely. Great point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes. See, good job. Awesome.
Well,
Anything else from anybody else?
It doesn't look like we have any other questions. And we are right at the end of our hour. So, Elsa and Mike, I want to thank you guys for your presentation, and Mike for helping out with the questions. This has all been great. I want to thank everybody here for all of the great questions they've given. We're sorry if we can't get to every single one of them. I think we've done most of them. But before we wrap up here, I'd like to quickly note that we have some upcoming webinars scheduled. These webinars are from the Build Your Career webinar series, and there'll be conversations with senior management by Roger Granis. That'll be on June 16th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We also have webinars coming up later this month. On May 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we have a panel from one of our newest standards working groups. That'll be online gaming and esports. And of course, the following day on May 26th, that's one of my webinars, so it's probably the best of all of them. It's going to be at 11 a.m. And this will be on, it'll be a Distinguished Lecturer Webinar Series webinar on AI opportunities and risks. You'll receive a link to register to this and the upcoming and the other upcoming webinars that are going to be scheduled for June, and that'll be in the email that we send to you with the slides from today and a copy of the presentation. And again, I'd like to thank all of you for attending, and Elsa for sharing your valuable insight with us. Thank you again, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Have fun.